Hey guys, I'm back with another video. Today I want to shortly talk about maps, so it's going to be a short overview. I will talk about maps currently in the map pool for 1 versus 1, and we'll just talk about things you need to consider when you play different maps. So of course, your actions, your strategy, your tactics, it's very dependent on your civilization and your opponent's civilization and on your playstyle, but it's also very dependent on your map. Not only on what map you're playing, but also on the randomness of the spawn. So where is your gold mine, where are your woodlands, and what terrain features are on this map. So you should in general be aware of three things. First of all is how wind conditions are affected by your map. So for example, if you're playing Dry Arabia, you can realistically get a Sacred Site victory, because Sacred Sites are in the middle. But if you're playing Cliffside, it can be more difficult, because on Cliffside, one Sacred Site is very close to your opponent and is difficult to capture. Second is resources, so obviously it's market positioning. Some maps just very bad for trade. Also it's gold mines, big gold mines, wood lines. Some maps have exposed food, some maps have exposed gold that you need to fight for. It's all very dependent. And last thing is terrain. So it's about hidden forests, it's about cliffs, it's about all the things you can use to your advantage. For example, you can use hidden forests to make towers, to give you a vision, to give you element of surprise. You can use wood lines to make palisades between them, so it's cheaper, and etc. I'll go through all maps we currently have in Season 8, so there is about 10 maps. First I want to talk about some general things. First of all, randomness in map spawns, it's always present. So if you're playing Dry Arabia, it can spawn in a variety of different ways. Example of things that can change is the position of starting gold mines. So small gold mines then can be very exposed, not very exposed. And for example, if your gold mine is very exposed, maybe it's difficult for you to go castle. If opponent's gold mine is exposed, it's easier for you to tower rush it, to stop him from playing fast castle. It's also big gold mine positions. How close is it to your base, how easy it is to attack or to capture. Relic position also very important, because you want to pick relics. And woodlands. If your woodlands are really good, you can place your palisades for cheaper. Sometimes your woodlands are very exposed, maybe, it's not easy to get wood, so you get a general idea. It's impossible to predict all of these things, you need to keep them in mind, you need to always try to scout, watch out what's happening. Yeah, and about scouting, also want to talk about scouting just to get some points across, because I'm not going to talk a lot about scouting when we're going to analyze the maps. So some people have scouting patterns for different maps. I think it's important, but usually it comes down to some specific things. First of all, you want to always maximize space you explore, so you need to get your scouting patterns for a map that allow you to not walk on the space you already explored, usually. Second, you want to try to see as many relics as possible. If you're trying to go Castle Age, at some point you probably go Castle Age, you can try to contest these relics, you can improve your position. Also, you want to maximize the amount of ship you get, so this means going into opponent's territory, going to the middle. Don't go to explore territory, so if you suspect your opponent, for example, was in your left corner, don't go to your left corner first, right? Because your opponent already picked up all the ship from there. Yeah, and at some point you should also bring your ship back, so if you didn't explore something but you need your ship at base, it's okay, just bring ship back, you will go there later. And my usual pattern would be for most maps, except the pit maybe. Just go to the middle, then you just go to one side that is closer to the opponent, and you head back to your base, and then you finish the unexplored territory. So the reason for this is in the middle there are some ship that can be contested, so this is why you want to get them. If you get the middle ship and then you go check unexplored territory, on average you're going to get more ship. Okay, so let's start with the maps. Let's go first with Dry Arabia. So I'm not going to talk a lot about Dry Arabia, it's a fairly standard balanced map, so everybody in general likes it. You can play almost any civilization here, it's okay for everyone. You can see normal amount of resources, so some deer packs, some berries, some gold mines, and your food can be a little bit exposed. Sometimes it's really close to you in your base, sometimes you can wall it with your palisades behind your woodlines. Sometimes it's just like this. In the front, not very easy to protect. You should check out your woodlines if you can put some palisades. For example, imagine Red playing English, he can just place palisade here, make some farms, it's going to be easy to protect. Also, on this map you can see big gold mines. Usually they spawn between these two players. They can spawn like this, maybe like this. And the game centers, it revolves a lot around gold mines. You want to play skips on gold mines, you want to tower them, you want to contest them, because if you get gold mines, your opponent is bound to run out of gold at some point. Yeah, so you can make life much more difficult for your opponent if you deny him these gold mines. Also about markets, it's not the best map for trading, but usually you have fairly good markets. You can set up your trade with Mongols, with other civilization in late game. So if you cannot get big gold mines, don't worry about it, just go trade. On Gorge, I would say it's a more aggressive, more open map compared to Dry Arabia. Main differences you can see, bases are now closer to each other, so Russian distance is smaller, it's easier to attack. Also, woodlines are in the back of your bases. Until these woodlines run out, your wood is fairly safe. After that, you will have to go for your side woodlines, but at this point, usually this map is split, is walled, so these woodlines are also okay. By the way, you can see that this map often gets split because of two little hills and this gorge between them. This is why the map is called the Gorge, by the way. Woodlines also can be used to make walls or palisades between them. This is why if game goes late, it's easy to split this map. Because sacred sites are in the middle, you can also try to force sacred site victory. By the way, the same is true of Dry Arabia. If your opponent tries to sit in his base, tries to be very defensive, and you can go for sacred sites. You can force sacred site victory condition, forcing your opponent to attack. Markets on this map are fairly exposed. It's not easy to trade here. Of course, you can do it if you manage to split the map. But even so, your opponent or you can always aim to attack opponent's market by just breaking these walls and going inside. So last thing to say, you also see these big gold mines. They are on each opponent's side. It's not very easy to attack them, but you can try to raid them, because the front line on this map is just so big because of the spawns. And this is why this game is about raids, and it's about trying to secure your half of the map. And many fast castle civilizations, they feel really comfortable here. So I beat, maybe even Japanese, maybe English with fast knights. It's all fairly good for them. Cliffside is also kind of an aggressive map, but it's not as open, because of these cliffs in the middle. The game is centered around these small gold mines. You can see sacred site victory maybe is not so easy to force here because of sacred site positioning. Imagine you're playing orange, it's going to be difficult to secure this sacred site. But also, if you place towers, if you place keeps, you can easily cut off the purple player from gold. Another problem is with woodlines. You have one good woodline in your base, but it runs out fairly quickly, after which you need to go for smaller woodlines. They can be raided, which is why you also try to split this map with palisades. So it's easier to split because of these cliffs. You can also place some towers, some keeps, but if you don't do it, raids can be very powerful on this specific map. Also, markets here are kinda exposed. Trade is not easy. It's possible, but it's not easy, same as with Gorge, it can be attacked. But in general, I would say I like to play civilizations with strong fortifications, with strong push here. For example, I like English, I like Rus, Byzantines on this map. Maybe HRE if you're playing aggressively in Feudal Age. Because this Russian distance is just so close. It's even closer than Gorge. Next map is the Pit. It's kind of open, because you can see these big openings, but also your movement is constrained by these hills, by this gorge in the middle. Also, this gorge has hidden forest inside, and because you have two big gold mines and sacred site here, often you fight for control of this little region. You try to place towers to give you some vision, you try to place keeps, you try to place siege, maybe some walls, palisades. Whoever controls this pit is often in favored position. Also, this map can be raided from the sides. Raids are fairly strong. which is why this map is also getting split very often by palisades, by walls. They are not cheap, but at some point you have to get them, or you'll just get raided to death in this map. Also, because of these little hills, if you place a keep in this region, it becomes really difficult to push right or to raid. So fortifications here are very strong after some point. Russian distance is kind of short, but also your base is going to be behind your town center, your woodline is safe. It's not easy to push, not easy to attack, and a keep can also solve most problems, or a tower. Two other things. First of all, gold mines. Each of the players has a big gold mine in his corner. If you can isolate this corner, if you can protect it, you will have a good source of gold. Markets also very good for trading here. For example, many players play Mongol trade here. It's a good map for them. Sacred sites in the middle. Sacred victory is possible. But again, if you concentrate your attack on one side, your opponent can just attack on the other and can place some fortifications here. So not really easy to push, not always easy to force sacred site victory condition. Because of these two hills you cannot walk through. This is why this map also, if you cannot finish the game early, it tends to drag out. I wouldn't say watch civilizations are good for this map, but usually I prefer to play civilizations with farms, with strong farms here. Because of woodline, because you can position farms here, and because your foot is a little bit exposed. Hill and Dale is a more closed map. It's easier to protect your base because of these hills. But also you need to go out for resources at some point. You can see only one small gold on your base. It will run out. You'll need to go for big goals, and all the resources are outside. You have a woodline which will also run out. For wood you can go to the side, but for gold you need to go in the middle. Trade is possible. Trade is kinda good. Maybe a little bit difficult to protect because of these hills. But this map is also okay for trade, if you're playing Abbasid trade or Mongol trade. Yeah, also Sacred Site victory is possible, not easy because of this big distance, but possible. And last, on one hand it's easy to protect from raids, if you wall like this, but also if your opponent already started raiding you, it can be difficult, because imagine you're fighting here with siege, with keeps, and you're getting raid from this side. You need to go all the way here, all the way here. It's not easy because of this hill, which is why many players just place stone walls outside, and at some point this map becomes just this mess with one base here, second base here, and no man's land in the middle that you're constantly fighting over. By the way, also I should mention about Cliffside. Cliffside has 2 extra ship in the start, which is very good. Although foot on Cliffside is exposed, extra ship are good, are very useful. And on Hill and Dale you have extra deer pack in your base. So civilizations like HRE that want to quickly age up and get relics, especially HRE, feels very comfortable here because of deer pack. You can just collect your deer, you go to castle very quickly, you get relics, and then you just camp in your base, because you have infinite source of gold with your relics. Okay, Rocky River, it's another map that gives you 2 extra ship in the start, so it's a little bit more food, but also you can see most of the food is concentrated around these 4 lakes, which is why it's not easy to get. Either you need to be very aggressive, control on map and get this food, or you just need to play civilization that has an easier time transitioning to farms, like English, Byzantines, HRE, and etc. These lakes, they can be used to do some fishing, but there is not a lot of fish there. There is about 2 fish per lake, which is not a lot, and it slows you down, so usually I don't opt to go for it. Sacred Site victory here is difficult because one Sacred Site is closer to a player's base, so yeah, it's difficult. Markets are kinda okay, but so yeah, if you place a wall here, it can be easy to protect, but also it's a little bit exposed. Gold mines, same way, right? Want to take control of them, maybe place keep, maybe place tower, but also can try to attack your opponent's gold mines. Other than this, it's not a very aggressive map, I would say, because there is a big distance. Of course, it's kind of an open map, but you can split it with palisades, with walls around the middle. I would say it's okay to defend. Usually you have one gold mine that is kinda safe, second gold mine close nearby. Easy to isolate your base, by the way, because of wood lines. You're not running out of wood very quickly. Yeah. I think this map, is favored for farm civilizations just because of these food sources. Imagine you're playing daily, you need to put a lot of pressure on purple player, so you can safely grab these food sources. Himeyama, it's a very aggressive, very open, very small map. You see very small distance. One lake in the middle, maybe sometimes worth fishing. There is about 5 fishing deposits or 6, I don't remember. If you're playing Japanese, maybe it's worth it. If you're playing Kabasit, maybe it's okay. Most civilizations usually don't go for this fishing. You can see gold is exposed, and it's not a lot of gold on this map, so you want to go and find out for gold deposits. Food is also exposed, woodlands are small. Yeah, just a very aggressive map. Highly favorable for aggressive civilizations that can start attacking in feudal. Just difficult to defend. Maybe also you can go fast castle, try some fast castle rush, if you see you have a chance to do it. Only 2 sacred sites on this map also. If you're playing daily, maybe it's even better for you, because you can protect both of these sacred sites. At least daily is one of my favorite picks for this map. It just feels good playing them. Especially I think with the dock changes, daily dock changes, daily fishing here maybe now is very strong. And just daily on this map. Also, we should say that markets on this map are okay. They are not very safe, but they are not terrible. If you're playing Mongols especially, it's easy to set up trade. It's kinda easy, okay to protect it. Yeah, so, and Mongols in general on this map feel very good because of tower rushing. Yeah, just a very open, aggressive map. Try to raid, try to be aggressive. Don't pick civilizations like Chinese or Jushi, because it will be very difficult for you. Baltic is a full water map. It has this giant lake in the middle. It even has 2 markets. So it's all about control of this water. Once you get control of the water, you can make a lot of fishing boats, you can even get some water trade, which will provide you with the infinite resources, and often you should win this game. Also, it's very important to control this lake, because attacking on the land here is very painful. You need to go a long distance, it's easy to wall, you can place keeps, so it's easy to protect. And if you control water, first of all you break all buildings near the shoreline with your ships, then you send transport ships with your villagers to make keeps or to make production. You also send units with your transport ships. So yeah, it's all about water, I would say. You can see base is easy to secure from some feudal rushes. You can place walls, you can place some spearmen even, maybe towers. Your woodlines are good, your gold mines are okay. Yeah, it's just a water map. I think it's the best water map you got, by the way, because this water is really open. It's all about microing this lake, all about getting control of it. Yeah, that's all I want to say about it. Sacred sites, 2 sacred sites, okay, so sacred site victory not easy to force, unless you're completely dominating. Markets. Markets not only on water, but also in the corner. Maybe if you're playing Abbasid, maybe if you're playing Mongols, you can not only all in on water, but you can try to go for some extra trade at the same time. Can be strong. Last map is Canal. Canal is not really a water map, it's a hybrid map, and it doesn't have any deep water fish. All the fishing here is shoreline fish, which will run out eventually. So you can see this blue sections are deep water. This is shallow water, so your units can pass through it. Also, this little section can be walled with a palisade. You can place a gate and your ships will be actually able to pass through the gate, which is very cool. First thing we should tell about Canal, say about Canal is that your space in your base is very limited. You have a small woodline, you have only 1 gold, sometimes 2, but that's an exception. So you will run out of resources here, you'll need to migrate. It's especially important to get new woodlines, so if you know your opponent is running out of wood, you can try to attack him with knights, with some spearmen maybe, with horsemen, and you also need to secure some wood for you. Maybe palisade here. Also, this water, it's not easy to attack, because you can place palisades, you can place towers, you can make even dock emplacements, and if you are attacking, only a few ships can fight at the same time, and demolition ships are very disruptive, very powerful here. So, yeah, usually it's all about using your fishing economy to quickly transition to Castle Age, to take control of the map, take control of gold mines, take relics, and get some of these 4 sacred sites. So sacred site victory not really easy to force unless you're completely dominating. You should try to just capture a big section of this map, because you will see you'll run out of gold, you'll run out of wood, you'll need some source of resources. Also, the shoreline fish, it will eventually run out, so you will need your economy. One thing you should try to prevent is your opponent's ships completely dominating and swarming here, because he can even try to deny your gold collection, your reinforcements. So you can place some towers, maybe a keep, maybe a barbican if you're playing Chinese, to stop this from happening. Other than this map is not really about this canal. It's about this canal the first 15 minutes, then it becomes about controlling the map, controlling relics, and just pushing. Also, last things is markets here are kinda okay. They're not perfect, but you can trade with them. You can wall so your opponent cannot stop your trade. Yeah, just try to diversify your economy if you play this map. So let's just say some things about maps in general. Already talked about it in the beginning, but of course you should adjust your strategy based on the map, because we have seen a lot of different maps. For more aggressive maps, maybe it's usually better to go aggressive in feudal age, to do some tower rush, to go fast castle. Other maps it's better to just camp, for example Hillendale, play 2 town center civilizations, play defense, and then just go out and capture sacred sites, capture gold mines. It all depends on the map, it all depends on the spawn. Just think carefully what strategy are you going to play. Second is resource deposits. You should always know if you have a safe wood line. For example, on Canal here we don't have a lot of safe wood, so it shouldn't be like, oh no, I'm out of wood on minute 10. You should be prepared to migrate to a new wood line. And if, for example, your opponent tower rushes this or attacks with his horse units, it's going to be very bad for you. So you need to be aware about resource deposits depending on the map. Last one is terrain features. Do not ignore them, because it's very easy to ignore them and just play certain playstyle. Again, I'll show you maybe the pit. You can see this, you cannot really ignore these little hills, because they block your army from moving through. So, for example, if I place a Berkshire here, it's very difficult to break unless you have a lot of siege, and it's going to be very powerful. Cliffside is very strong for placing keeps and towers here, and placing palisades is going to be difficult to push through. And on the pit again, there is a hidden forest. Almost always you want to have a tower here, or a scout, to give you vision for this middle ground. And high ground. Also, high ground gives you more vision when you're standing on it. If you're standing below it, you have less vision. This is also why you should consider getting towers or scouts, and just be careful with attacking high ground. Okay, so this is all I wanted to say about maps. Thanks for watching this guide. Not guide, overview. If you have some comments, leave them in the comments. Yeah, have a good night.